On the outer edge of the Milky Way, there was a giant space station called Nova 17. It floated silently in the dark sky, spinning slowly above a planet filled with fire and metal. The station looked peaceful from outside. But deep inside, something dangerous was hidden. Zero was a young alien girl from the planet Threnix. Her skin was soft blue, and her eyes glowed like moonlight. She worked as a cleaner on Nova 17. She didn't speak much. She liked quiet corners, soft music, and old machines. Humans didn't notice her. To them, she was just part of the background. But Zira noticed everything. Every night, when the humans went to sleep, Zira stayed behind to clean the labs. One of those labs had a red door with a glowing sign, restricted human military only. The door was always locked. No one ever went in. But Zira's heart always beat faster near that room. Something inside called to her. Tonight, something was different. As Zira walked past the red door, it was slightly open. She stopped. A cold wind touched her face. The lights inside flickered. No alarm rang. No cameras moved. Curious. And a little afraid, Zira pushed the door open. Inside was a strange room filled with machines and bright blue lights. In the middle of the room was a small table with a single glass vial. The vial glowed like fireflies trapped in a bottle. Next to it was a label, Serum AHS. Do not touch a sci-fi desire. Didn't understand all the words. She picked up the vial and sniffed it. Sweet. She smiled. Maybe it's alien tea, she whispered, laughing softly. Without thinking, Zira opened the vial and drank. The liquid was warm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the pain started. Zira dropped to her knees, shaking. Her heart pounded like thunder. Her eyes burned. Her bones felt like they were melting. Her fingers twisted, her vision blurred, and her ears heard 1,000 voices, laughing, screaming, whispering. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Everything went dark. When Zira woke up, she was in her small sleeping pod. Her blanket was soaked in sweat. Her body felt heavy, but alive. She looked at her hands. They were glowing. What happened to me? She whispered. She stood up. Something was different. She could hear people walking outside her pod, even though they were far away. She smelled burnt wires in another room. She could even feel her own blood moving inside her. Zira rushed to the mirror. Her eyes were not blue anymore. They were silver. Later that night, she returned to the lab. The red door was closed again. No sign of anyone, but someone had been there. The vial was gone. The machines were off, and security cameras were now pointed toward the hallway. She was not alone anymore. In another part of the station, far above, a group of human officers sat in a dark control room. A soldier spoke. Sir, motion detected in Lab 13. One vial is missing. The commander frowned. Check the logs. Only one person entered. Zira, the alien cleaner. The commander stood up slowly. His voice was cold. Activate recovery protocol. She drank that serum. Another soldier looked worried. But sir, AHS wasn't ready. It was made for humans only. The commander's eyes narrowed. Exactly. Now we'll see what it does to something else. Back in her room, Zira sat quietly. Her mind was racing. She closed her eyes and heard someone talking far away. Not through walls, not through thoughts. She gasped and backed away. What's happening to me? She cried. Suddenly, her hand lit up with energy. Sparks danced on her skin. The bed shook. She ran outside, scared and confused. From the shadows, someone was watching her. A man with sharp eyes, dressed in black armor. He spoke into his COM device. Subject is active. Moving to phase 2. Asterisk, the darkness was alive. Zira stood in the middle of a field, but not one she knew. The sky was black, the ground broken like a battlefield. Fires burned in the distance. Human soldiers were screaming. Something huge walked. In the smoke. She couldn't see it clearly, but she felt its power. Then she looked down at her hands. And they were covered in blood. Suddenly, she woke up. Zira gasped for air, sitting up in her sleeping pod. Her skin was cold. Her chest rose and fell quickly. Her hands were shaking. It was just a dream, she whispered. But it didn't feel like a dream. It felt real. She looked around. The station was still quiet. Her pod was still the same. Her reflection in the mirror, still not hers. Her eyes were no longer the soft blue of her kind. They were glowing silver, sharp, watching everything. She touched her head. Her thoughts were loud, like hundreds of voices echoing in a cave. Was she going crazy? Or changing? She got up and walked out into the hallway. The metal floor felt cold. Beneath her bare feet, the long corridor lights flickered. Everything looked normal. But nothing felt normal. She passed a group of humans walking by. They were laughing, talking about a broken air vent. But as Zira passed them, she heard a voice say in her mind, "She doesn't belong here." She stopped. Looked back. They weren't. Even looking at her, did she hear their thoughts? She tried again. She focused. Suddenly, she heard clear words, like radio signals inside her head. "I hate this station. Only 3 more days and I go home. Did anyone feed the lab rats?" Zira gasped and stepped back. What is happening to me? Later that day, Zira returned to work in the research sector. She tried to act normal. She cleaned floors, wiped screens, and stayed quiet, but her senses were too sharp. She could hear whispers from rooms far away. She could smell chemicals locked in sealed boxes. Every human she passed, she could feel their emotions, fear, anger, jealousy, sadness. It was too much. She almost dropped her cleaning tools. Her head throbbed. She leaned against a wall and closed her eyes. Then someone placed a hand on her shoulder. She turned quickly, almost punched. The man in reflex. It was just a young human guard. "Hey, you okay?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes." Just tired, but her hands were glowing again. And he saw it. His eyes widened slightly. Then he smiled politely and walked away. But the moment he turned the corner, he spoke into his radio. Visual confirmation. "Subject is showing signs. Alert the commander." That night, Zira went to the observation deck. It was the only place she felt peace. She looked out at the stars. So many stars. She thought about her home planet Threnix. It was quiet, soft, green. Not like this cold station. Not like this body. She clenched her fists. "I don't feel like myself anymore," she whispered. She remembered the serum, the glowing vial, the pain, the voices. What did I drink? Then her reflection in the glass moved. But she hadn't. She turned fast. No one was there. She stood, breathing hard. Her own reflection looked back, but its eyes were darker. Elsewhere on the station, in a high-security room, Commander Reeve watched Zira on a screen. Dozens of cameras tracked her every move. Scientists stood around him, whispering. One of them said, "Sir, her body has accepted the serum better than any human subject." Another added, "She may be the perfect hybrid, but her mind might break." The commander crossed his arms. "We need to know how far she can go. Keep pushing. No contact yet. Let her evolve." Back on the observation deck, Zira started hearing whispers again, but this time, they weren't from people. They were from inside her head. "You are not just Zira anymore. You are more. We remember war. We remember power. Let us out." She clutched her head and screamed softly, falling to her knees. Something was inside her. Not just power. Memories. Someone else's life. She saw flashes again. Soldiers. Blood. A giant machine firing a red beam into the sky. Earth in flames. Then she saw a human man, tall, strong, face covered in scars, screaming as something was injected into him. Zira gasped. That was the same serum. That was the same feeling. Was that his memory? Was that man now part of her? She stood up, shaking. This was not just power. This was something much deeper. Much darker. Suddenly, a voice behind her said, "You shouldn't be here." She turned around fast. It was a man in military uniform. Dark brown eyes, calm voice. No weapon in his hand. Zira didn't speak. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "My name is Kai. I just want to talk." Zira stepped back. "How do you know me?" "I saw the security footage," he said. "And I know what you drank. That serum, it wasn't for aliens. It wasn't even ready for humans." She narrowed her eyes. "Then why did you make it?" Kai looked away. "To win a war." Zira frowned. "What war?" He looked at her again. "The one we never talk about." The station was no longer silent. It breathed like a monster. Lights flickered. Walls echoed with whispers. And in every corner, someone was watching. Zira didn't sleep that night. After meeting the human soldier Kai. Her mind was spinning. He said he knew about the serum. He said it was made for war. But he didn't tell her everything. She saw it in his eyes, fear, and something else. Guilt. She walked through a dark corridor, staying close to the walls. Her heartbeat was fast. Her skin tingled every time someone walked by. Her powers were growing stronger every hour. Her body felt faster, sharper, but also heavier, like something inside her was trying to take control. She passed a mirror. For a second, she saw her reflection blink. After she had already turned away, something was wrong. Meanwhile, deep in the control tower, alarms flashed red. "Project AS subject is now unstable," said a voice over the speakers. Commander Reeves stood silently, watching the screen where Zira's face appeared, her silver eyes glowing. "She must be captured," he said coldly. "But sir," one of the soldiers replied, "her power is increasing too fast. She defeated the recon drones without touching them." The commander raised an eyebrow. "Send in Team Shadow 6, full gear." "She must be taken alive." "Understood, sir." Hours later, Zira was in the lower cargo deck. Huge empty crates were stacked like mountains. Her footsteps echoed. She stopped suddenly. Silence. Too quiet. She closed her eyes and listened. Nothing. No voices. No thoughts. That was a bad sign. A whisper touched her mind. "They're here." She turned. A red laser danced on her chest. Then another, and another. From the shadows, 6 soldiers appeared, dressed in black armor with helmets that covered their faces. Each held a plasma rifle aimed at her. "Zira Threenix," a robotic voice said, "you are carrying restricted human military property. Surrender now." Zira raised her hands slowly. "I don't want to hurt anyone," she said. But her voice wasn't hers anymore. It was deeper. Echoed. The voice inside her was waking up. One of the soldiers stepped forward. "Restrain her." Another moved behind her. Zira felt fear. And something else. Instinct. Time slowed down. She moved. Faster. Then light. She spun around, grabbed the soldier's arm, and slammed him against a crate. His armor cracked. Another fired at her. She raised her hand, and the energy blast stopped midair. Everyone froze. She looked at the floating energy, then flicked her fingers. Boom. The blast shot back, knocking 2 soldiers off their feet. She breathed hard. "I said, I didn't want to fight." One soldier reached for a gas grenade. Zira kicked the floor. Yes, kicked it, and the metal shook. The grenade flew from his hand before he could activate it. Only one soldier was left standing. He aimed his gun straight at her head, but he didn't shoot. Zira looked into his eyes through the visor. It was Kai. Kai lowered his weapon slowly. "Stand down," he said into his mic. "Repeat, stand down." The other soldiers didn't answer. They were unconscious or broken. Zira stepped back, still breathing hard. Her arms glowed. Sparks danced on her skin. What am I becoming? She whispered. Kai looked at her, then around at the destruction. Not a monster, he said. But not who you were either. Zira sat on a crate, shaking. I can't control it. It's not just power. It's someone else inside me. A voice, a memory. Kai walked closer. I believe you, he said. I know what that serum does. It was created from a human soldier. A man who volunteered to become a weapon. His DNA, his mind, they put it in the serum. You didn't just drink chemicals. You drank part of a person. Zira looked up. So I'm not alone? Kai shook his head. You're never alone again. That's the danger. Back in the control tower, the commander watched with rage. Cancel Shadow 6, he ordered. Send the trackers. Use drones. Use everything. I want her body on a table. In the next 24 hours. A scientist spoke up, nervous. But sir, if we push her, she could lose control fully. The energy might destroy the station. The commander narrowed his eyes. Then we destroy the station first. Meanwhile, Kai and Zira moved quickly through the old mining tunnels under Nova 17. They were cold, wet, and forgotten. The perfect place to hide. Where are we going? She asked. Somewhere safe, he replied. A cargo ship docked by rebels. They don't like the military. If we're lucky, they'll help us escape. Zira stopped suddenly. She closed her eyes. Voices. Soldiers. Coming closer. She turned to Kai. They found us. How? He asked. She touched her chest. They don't need cameras. I'm a beacon now. From the shadows, red dots appeared again. Drones. Dozens of them. ZYRA stood in front of Kai. Her body began to glow fully this time. Her hair floated like it was underwater. Her eyes turned white. Run, she said. No, Kai replied. I fight with you. Zira smiled sadly. You won't survive this. Then she raised her arms. And the tunnel exploded in light. Space is quiet. But inside Zira's mind, there was war. She floated in a dark place. No floor, no ceiling. Just stars around her, pulsing like broken memories. Her body felt weightless. Her breath, cold. Then a voice spoke, not hers. We were born in fire. She turned in the dark. We died for humans. Now we live through you. Suddenly her body jolted. She opened her eyes, screaming. Kai grabbed her shoulders. Zira, you're okay. You're safe. They were hiding in an abandoned reactor core. Cold, dead, and silent. Zira was lying on a metal floor, shaking. Her skin was pale. Her arms glowed faintly. She gasped. I saw them again, the battlefield, Earth, the man. He was burning. He was me. Kai looked serious. The memories are getting stronger. Zira nodded slowly. He's inside me. The one who took the serum first. I can feel his pain. His rage. Kai stood and paced. They never told us what happened to him. Only that he didn't survive. But maybe, part of him did. In the formula. And now it's in you. Zira sat up. He's not just part of me. He's trying to take over. Meanwhile, inside the command center, Commander Reeves stood before a team of military scientists. She survived the drone strike, he said, voice calm but dangerous. And she's showing signs of memory fusion. One of the doctors replied, if the host's mind breaks, the serum's memory data may overwrite her original identity. Reeve nodded. That's exactly what we want. But sir, the scientist warned, if the soldier's mind fully takes over, Zira becomes something else. Not alien, not human, something new. Reeves stared at the screen. Good, he said. Then she'd be perfect. Back in the reactor shelter, Zira sat against the wall, breathing slowly. Her eyes flickered between silver and white. Her hands twitched. Kai returned with water and old energy bars. I found supplies, he said. Zyra didn't take them. She stared into space. Then softly, she whispered, "His name was Dax." Kai looked confused. "Who?" "The man inside me. His name was Dax Corin, human, soldier, special forces. Age 29, volunteer. Last words, 'Let them remember me.'" Kai froze. "How do you know that?" Zira pointed to her head. "He's waking up. His memories are inside my brain like broken glass. Some sharp, some buried, but they're spreading." She looked up at Kai, tears in her silver eyes. "I'm scared. What if I forget who I am?" Kai knelt in front of her. "You're Zira. You're kind. You saved me when you didn't have to. You care. That's what makes you you. Don't let him take that." Zira smiled weakly, but inside, Dax's voice whispered, "You are stronger with me. Let me show you." That night, Zira had another vision. She was in a war zone, Earth 300 years ago. The sky was red. Giant machines flew overhead. Alien invaders burned cities. Humans ran and screamed. And in the middle of the chaos stood Dax, body half metal, half flesh, holding 2 energy rifles, bleeding but laughing. Zira felt the rage in his heart. A betrayal. He had taken the serum to save Earth, but they had abandoned him. Left him to die. Then she saw it. Dax strapped to a chair, injected with the final serum, and Commander Reeve watching. Zira woke up screaming again. "Kai, I know who made the serum." Kai looked at her, eyes wide. "What? Who?" She stood, shaking. "The commander, Reeve, he was there. He made it. He tested it on Dax, then buried the truth." Kai clenched his fists. "He said it was a weapon to protect Earth. He lied." Zira nodded. "He wanted power. Now I carry it. And he wants me, not to save anyone, but to finish what he started." Suddenly, alarms blared in the distance. A voice echoed through the station. "This is Commander Reeve. Alien subject Zira is to be captured. No mercy. All forces authorized." Zira looked at Kai. "They're coming." Kai grabbed a plasma pistol. "Then we leave, now." As they ran through service tunnels, Zira heard thoughts again. "She's a threat. Target sighted on deck. 19. Fire when ready." She turned a corner, and there were soldiers, heavily armed, ready to fire. Kai raised his gun. Zira stepped forward. "No," she said. "Let me." She closed her eyes. Dax's voice echoed. "Let them feel what I felt." She opened her arms, and energy exploded from her body like a wave. The soldiers screamed and dropped their weapons. The lights shattered, metal bent, and Zira floated above the floor, glowing like a star. When the light faded, all the soldiers were unconscious. Zira fell to her knees. Kai ran to her. "Are you okay?" She looked up slowly. "I didn't stop him," she whispered. "He took over, just for a second." Kai helped her up. "We need to get that out of you." Zira shook her head. "No, we need to finish this. We need to go to Earth." Kai blinked. "What?" She stood tall, eyes silver and steady. "Earth is where this started, and maybe where it ends. Meanwhile, on Earth." Inside a black facility, far underground, Commander Reeve stood before a massive chamber. A scientist asked, "What if she reaches us, sir?" Reeve smirked. "Then we welcome her." Inside the chamber, something growled. A second test subject, another failed serum, and this one was awake. The stars outside the stolen cargo ship drifted like ghosts, cold and silent. Inside, Zira sat on the floor, her arms wrapped tightly around her knees, staring at nothing. The hum of the engines was the only sound, steady and low, like a heartbeat, trying to calm a storm. Kai stood nearby, hands resting on the ship's control panel, pretending to check the systems. But his eyes kept going back to her. She hadn't spoken in hours. Not since they left Nova 17. Not since she'd nearly lost herself to the voice inside her. To Dax. Kai finally broke the silence. We'll reach Earth in 23 hours. Zira didn't look up. And then what? They'll be waiting. They will, he said quietly. And you're still going with me? Her voice was soft, uncertain. Kai looked at her for a long moment, then walked over and sat down across from her. I need to tell you something, he said. Zira raised her eyes. What is it? He took a breath. I wasn't just a soldier. I was part of Project IHS too. Zira's heart skipped. You? He nodded. I was a test subject, early version. Before Dax, they called it Phase 0, a prototype serum, unstable. I volunteered, thought I was helping my people. What did it do to you? She asked, her voice low. He looked down at his hands. It gave me strength, speed, sharper senses. But it didn't last. The changes faded in weeks. My body rejected it, mostly. But something stayed, something I don't talk about. Zira leaned forward. What stayed? Kai looked into her. Glowing silver eyes. Pain. I started hearing things. Dreams that weren't mine. I felt things I never lived. I thought I was going crazy. Until I saw you. Zira's breath caught. You were like me, he continued. But stronger, the real success. That's why they want you. Not to fix the past, but to replace it. Her voice trembled. You said you believed me. Was it because you knew? He nodded. I knew what it felt like, to lose pieces of yourself. She sat back, the weight of his words sinking in. Her thoughts were spinning again, but now they weren't alone. They had his. I'm scared, she whispered. What if I'm not me anymore? What if I become him? Kai reached out, placing his hand over hers. Then I'll remind you, he said. Every time. A faint smile tugged at her lips. But deep inside, Dax stirred again. You trust him, the voice whispered in her head. He will betray you, like they all did. She shook her head. No. Kai looked at her. What? Nothing, she lied. Just noise. Later, while Kai slept in the pilot's chair, Zira stood in front of the ship's small mirror. Her reflection stared back at her with sharp, silver eyes and flickering lines of glowing energy across her skin. She touched the glass. Are you still in there, Zira? She whispered. And then the mirror changed. Her reflection smirked. You're running out of time, the Dax inside her said. When we land, he'll give you up, just like they gave me up. It's in their blood. No, she whispered. He's not like them. They all are, the voice replied. You'll see. The mirror returned to normal. She stepped back, breathing fast. She had to stay in control. Earth was close. And she had to know the truth, not just about the serum, but about Dax. And about Kai. 23 hours passed like a storm. When they arrived near Earth's orbit, the planet looked nothing like the peaceful world she'd heard about in stories. From space, she could see the scars. Cities turned to craters. Forests burned black. Satellites drifted like broken bones. In the sky, this is Earth? She asked, shocked. Kai nodded slowly. At least what's left of it, after the last war, after Dax. She stared through the window. They buried the truth. Buried him. And now, Kai said, powering. Down the ship's cloaking system, they'll try to bury you. The ship shook as they entered the lower orbit. Earth's defense network pinged them immediately. Unregistered vessel, identify. Kai pressed the come button. This is pilot Kai Lennox, retired. Emergency landing requested. Code 9 Zebra. A long pause, then a voice replied, landing granted. But come armed. Zira looked at him. That doesn't sound like a welcome. Kai grabbed 2 weapons. It's not. They landed in an abandoned desert zone, far from the cities. An old Earth military base stood nearby, its gates half broken, walls covered in sand and time. Zira stepped out, feeling Earth's air for the first time. It was warm, heavy, and it carried memories that didn't belong to her. Dax's memories. She saw a flash, this exact desert, screaming. Betrayal. This is where he died. She said softly. Kai nodded. This is where it all began. They moved slowly through the ruins, watching every shadow. Then a voice echoed behind them, drop your weapons. Dozens of soldiers surrounded them. Black armor, red visors, rifles ready. And then Commander Reeve stepped forward. Well done, Kai, he said. You brought her home. Zaira froze. Kai didn't move. Zaira whispered, no, tell me you didn't. Kai slowly turned his head toward her. I didn't. Reeve raised an eyebrow. Oh, he didn't know. That's the best part. Zaira stepped back. What's happening? Reeve smiled cruelly. This was always the plan. Let you run, let you awaken. Then bring you home. You were never free. She looked at Kai. His face was pale. Reeve continued. The second subject is waiting. The new serum is ready. You, Zaira, were just the test. Drive. Zaira's hands glowed. Her pulse roared. Kai took a step toward her. Zaira, I swear. I didn't. But it was too late. The ground cracked. Zaira's body exploded with energy. And Dax, not just his voice, but his will, pushed forward. The sand rose. The sky darkened. Soldiers shouted. Zaira screamed. And the desert remembered fire once more. Dust rose like a ghost from the desert floor. Zaira stood still in the center of the storm, her silver eyes glowing brighter than ever before. Her skin flickered with white-hot energy. Sparks flew from her fingers. Her breath echoed like thunder in the silence. Around her, the ground cracked, dry earth rising and falling with each heartbeat. Soldiers froze. Their rifles trembled in their hands. No one moved. Then she opened her mouth, but the voice that came out wasn't hers. You left me in this place. It said, now I rise again. Kai shouted, Zaira, stop. You don't have to, but it wasn't Zaira anymore. It was Dax. With a single step forward, her body lifted off the ground. A shockwave burst from her feet. The closest soldiers flew backward like paper in a storm. Metal warped. Stone split. Commander Reeve stood unmoved, hands behind his back, watching calmly. Good, he whispered. Show me what you've become. Zaira's power rose higher. Light poured from her body. A tornado of energy formed around her. Kai ran toward her, shouting her name, but he couldn't get close. The heat, the wind, it pushed everything back. Zaira's mind fought from inside. No, this isn't who I am. I am not him. But Dax's voice roared louder. They buried me alive. They erased me. Now they will burn. Suddenly, a giant crack ripped through the desert floor, and something massive began to rise. A platform made of old earth tech, hidden under the sand. The soldiers backed away. Weapons raised. From the center of the platform, a black chamber hissed open, and a second figure stepped out. Subject 2, not human, not alien. Something else. It was tall, armored in living metal, skin like liquid steel, eyes like red suns. The creature didn't speak. It didn't need to. Its presence was a scream. Kai's eyes widened. What the hell is that? Reeve smiled. Our next generation. Subject 2 stepped down, slowly, like a god entering a battlefield. Zaira turned to face it, still floating, her glow flickering. Her hands raised. The ground between them melted. They stared at each other, one born from stolen DNA, the other from a stolen mind. Then they attacked. The clash was silent at first, 2 flashes of light meeting in midair. Then came the sound, a blast so loud the sky cracked. Energy waves exploded outward, knocking soldiers, shattering rocks, flipping armored trucks. The air caught fire. Zaira fought like a storm, but Subject 2 was built for this. Every punch it took, it returned with double force. It moved like it knew her next step. Kai tried to get close, dodging debris, shielding his face. Zaira, fight it. Don't let Dax take over. Her body hit the ground hard. She rolled, blood trailing from her mouth. Dax's voice growled inside her. Let me finish this. He is my replacement. Zira gasped, coughing. No, I won't be your weapon. She stood up. The creature charged. This time, she didn't dodge. She placed both hands forward, eyes wide, and let everything go. Her fear, her pain, her confusion, her anger. A white sphere of light exploded from her chest. Subject 2 hit it, and stopped. For a second, everything was frozen. Then, the thing screamed, not a sound, a feeling. The air warped around it. Its body began to melt, glitch, tear. Zira screamed, too, not in pain, but in defiance. I am not you, Dax. I am not them. I am me. Subject 2 collapsed into a pile of broken metal. Smoking and hissing. Silence fell. But it didn't last. Commander Reeve stepped forward, clapping slowly. Impressive, he said. You surpassed both of them. You've become perfect. Zira turned to him, panting, glowing faintly. I'm not yours. Reeve pulled out a small device. A red button. Then you die free. He pressed it. Explosions lit the base from beneath. Hidden bombs planted years ago, rigged to burn everything in case of failure. The ground shook. Fire rose from the cracks. Walls collapsed. Kai grabbed Zira's hand. Run! They sprinted through smoke and flame, dodging falling debris, sirens screaming in the distance. The remaining soldiers tried to escape, some screaming, some burning. Zira stumbled. Kai caught her. Almost there. They reached the edge of the base, where a stolen hoverbike was hidden under a tarp. Kai jumped on, pulling Zira behind him. The base exploded behind them, a wall of fire chasing them. Across the sand, they sped through the desert like lightning. The orange glow fading behind them. For a while, there was only silence, only the wind. Zira leaned her head on Kai's back, exhausted. Her skin stopped glowing. He reached back and took her hand gently. You okay? He asked softly. She nodded barely. I think I'm finally free. But deep inside her, something still stirred. The voice was quieter now. But it wasn't gone. One day, you'll need me again, it whispered. She didn't answer. She just closed her eyes and hoped it was wrong. Far away, in orbit above Earth, a dark ship watched everything inside it. A shadowy figure stepped forward and spoke into a com. Subject 1 escaped. Subject 2 terminated. Begin Project 0. And in the distance, Earth turned slowly under the stars, waiting for the next war. Asterisk, the stars were silent again. Far from the fire, far from the war, Zira stood at the edge of an old cliff on Earth, looking at the ruins of a city below. The wind pulled at her long coat, and ash floated in the air like snow. Kai stood a few feet behind her. His jacket was torn. His left arm burned from the explosion, but he didn't care. His eyes were only on her. Zira hadn't spoken in 2 days. Not since the breakout, not since she destroyed Subject 2 and left Commander Reeve to burn in his own trap. The desert was quiet now, but inside her, the storm still raged. Dax's voice was gone. Not silent, just waiting. Like a shadow in the back of her mind. She could feel him sometimes, in her dreams, in her anger, in her hands when they glowed without warning. She closed her eyes. I'm still me, she told herself. But was she? Behind her, Kai stepped closer. His voice was soft. We can go. We have a ship ready. The rebels are helping us. They'll hide us or take us far away. Zira didn't turn. Where would we go? She asked quietly. They'll chase us forever. We can hide, he said. Rest, heal. You don't have to keep fighting. She looked down at her hands, hands that had once held a mop and wiped windows. Now they could crush metal, burn air, bend light. She whispered, they made me into a weapon. Kai walked closer. But they didn't make your heart. That's still yours. Zyra turned to him finally. Her silver eyes glowed faintly in the twilight. What if that's the part that breaks next? He stepped forward and gently placed his hand on hers. Then we fix it. Together. A long silence followed, but then something clicked in the air. Not between them. Above. Zara looked up. A ship was coming. Fast, silent, black as space. No lights, no sound. She didn't need to guess. They found us. Kai looked up, face tightening. Run? Zira shook her head. No more running. The ship hovered above the broken city, then lowered slowly. From it, a voice echoed through the wind. Zyra of Threenix. You hold technology and memory that belongs to Earth Command. Surrender and you will not be harmed. Zyra chuckled, but there was no joy in it. They always lie. The ship opened. Soldiers poured out, different this time. Not like Reeves' army. These were new, cloned, eyes empty. No thoughts. She could sense that. No fear. Just orders, clones. She whispered, "They're done trusting real people." Kai pulled his weapon. "They want you alive. Me, probably not." Zyra took a deep breath. "Then I'll give them a choice." She floated gently into the air. Her eyes turned bright white. Her body began to hum. But this time, she didn't let Dax take control. She didn't need him. She had learned to hold the fire without being burned. The clones raised their rifles. Too late. Zyra raised her arms, and the wind exploded outward. Dust turned into knives. Rocks lifted like they were paper. Light wrapped around her like a shield. The first wave of clones flew back, broken. Silent. More kept coming. She landed softly on the ground. Kai stood beside her. They fought side by side, step by step, blast by blast. He protected her back. She cleared the path, but they just kept coming. For every one they dropped, two more arrived. Zyra's power began to flicker. Her heart pounded. Her hands trembled. The fire inside her wanted more. It wanted to take control. "Let me," Dax whispered. "One more time, we end it here." She fell to her knees. "No," she whispered. "You're not me." Kai turned. "Zyra?" Her body shook. Her skin glowed too bright. She looked up, tears falling down her cheeks. "I can't hold it." And then she stopped. Everything paused. The light died. The clone stood still, confused. Zyra was quiet. And in her hand was the last vial, a red one. Kai's eyes widened. "What is that?" She looked at him, voice steady. "A counter serum. I found it in Reeves' files." "Wait," Kai said. "That's the purge formula. It'll erase everything the serum gave you. The power, the memory, the connection." Zyra nodded slowly. "I know. If you take that, you might die." She smiled, just a little. "Or I might finally live." Kai stepped toward her. "Are you sure?" Zyra looked around. At the broken earth, the rising fire, the endless war. Then, at him. "I don't want to be the strongest. I want to be free." Before he could stop her, she drank it. The effect was instant. Her body arched in pain. Light exploded from her chest. She screamed, but it wasn't Dax's voice. It was hers. The clones aimed, confused, but they didn't shoot. She collapsed. Glow faded. Her eyes went dark. And for a terrifying moment, Zyra didn't move. Kai dropped beside her, shouting her name. "Zyra! Zyra!" No answer. He checked her pulse. Nothing. A small gasp. Her chest rose. Her eyes opened. Blue. Not silver. Blue. Wire blinked. Breathing slow. "Is it over?" Kai cried. For the first time. "Just a little." "Yes," he whispered. "You're back." The clones began to fall one by one, without command. Their systems shut down. Their minds, linked to the serum, collapsed without her. The ship above powered down. And in the quiet, Earth breathed again. Zyra sat up, weak but smiling. "No. More voices, she said. Kai nodded. Just your own. They stood together, hand in hand, looking at the broken world before them. Zyra whispered, "Do you think I'm human enough now?" Kai smiled. "You're more than human. You're you. That's enough." The wind picked up again, but this time it felt soft, gentle, free, and somewhere in the ruins, wildflowers began to grow.